So I said before, I think that the arts are in a slump right now. Part of it is wokeness. Part of it has to do with something I'll talk about another time, probably on my show, about the search for what a virtuous man looks like, what a good man. We're having trouble defining that, and it's making it very hard to make good stories. The most interesting stuff is still on TV. I've been watching some things, but nothing has quite captured my imagination. Severance I think, is the most interesting thing, directed by Ben Stiller and created by Dan Erickson. Interesting story about people who go to work and their work life is disconnected from their memory of their other life. And it's got some really interesting touches to it. The most interesting thing about it, they don't even know what this company does. They're doing this kind of meaningless work on computer, and then they leave and they don't remember it, and then they come back and they don't remember having left. They know that's happening, but it just seems like they're always at work or always at home. And the most interesting thing about it so far is the life outside of the company is so banal and so disconnected and alienated that we feel like we're living in some bigger system than we thought. The show gets better and better as it goes. Adam Scott, who is the star of it, very slowly lures you into his character because it's such an alienating and disjointed experience that it takes several episodes before you care about him at all. But he's a good actor and he brings you into the character slowly. And by the end, you do care. And the last 2 minutes of the show of the first season are riveting, and it gets better and better as it goes along. So I'm going to go back and watch it again. Watch the next season when it comes out. It did catch me eventually, and its premise is really interesting and something like what a lot of people go through, that they cut off their work life and their home life completely. Peaky Blinders has been on, I think, is now in its last 6 seasons. I was very interested in this to begin with because it was created by Stephen Knight, who also did Eastern Promises, one of the best modern crime movies out there. He's done some really interesting things and some things that are less interesting. But the first season of Peaky Blinders was really gripping, about gypsy gangsters in Britain after World War I, coming back from World War I, with Cillian Murphy leading the pack. Helen McCrory was also very good. She died very sadly. She was only like 52. Very good actress. It's lost its way as it's gotten into. It's now in the 30s. It's now gotten political. It's dealing with the rise of fascism, and it's very confused in its attitudes toward politics. It doesn't quite have a way to go. It all centers on Cillian Murphy's character, and I feel it's lost its way. Maybe it'll get better. It really was that first 2 seasons that really sang for me. The other was The Shining Girls, which I wanted to like. It had such a good premise. It's based on a novel by Lauren Bukes, maybe. I haven't read the novel. Stars Elizabeth Moss, who also directed some of the episodes. And it's got this great premise, which I hate serial killer stories. I thought Silence of the Lambs should have been the last serial killer story. It's kind of, Silence of the Lambs was like Picasso. I don't mind seeing Picasso once, then they should have gone back to representational art. I feel that way about serial killer stories. I hate to sound like a feminist because I don't like them that much, but I get tired of women being used as props to make you afraid for them. And I really get tired of people dreaming up these elaborate ways of murdering them, which I just think is unpleasant and not really worth watching and elevates the violence above the people involved. This one had this great premise, though. The woman has been attacked by the serial killer and survived, Elizabeth Moss's character, but things keep changing. So one day she'll come home and her mother will be living with her. Another day she'll come home and her mother won't be living with her. Things keep shifting around, and you don't know why they're shifting around. And when they explain it, it actually plays and works. I can't say it makes sense because it's supernatural, but it's really quite satisfying. The problem is that they don't do the basic things well. The murders aren't exciting. The suspense isn't that suspenseful. The characters aren't very compelling. They're kind of off-putting, some of them. And Elizabeth Moss is off-putting in it. She plays her character as so angry and so unpleasant and grim. She looks like one of the angry birds. I mean, she's kind of got that bird-like face to begin with. And I like her. She's a good actress. But I just didn't like her performance in this. I felt she was almost too realistic in a way, that she should have given us a little bit more to like her with, a little bit more to hang on to. She's not an appealing character, and it just doesn't draw you in. So I was interested, and then I just thought, nah, this just isn't working. Then when the reveal came and they explained what was happening, I thought, that's a good reveal. I like that. But it just didn't play. And by the end of it, I didn't care what happened at all. So that was the worst. So going from Severance, the most interesting right now, Peaky Blinders, which used to be interesting, but it's kind of lost its way, to The Shining Girls, which I wanted to like, but just didn't work. But still the best stuff is on television and a lot there. I do predict a revival. I don't think American culture is dead. I think it is just wounded, and it will rise and fight again. If you like this content, and I know you love this content, subscribe and like and subscribe to the Andrew Klavan Podcast.